Hi, I'm Thomas Parham, Executive Director of Screenwriting at Azusa Pacific University.
And this is Ryan Izay, Adjunct Professor of Film and Television Studies at Azusa Pacific University.
And welcome to our Oscar preview show.
So should we start with Best Supporting Actress?
Sure. Who are the nominees, Ryan?
This year the nominees are Viola Davis with Four Fences, Naomi Harris in Moonlight, Nicole Kidman in Lion, Octavia Spencer in Hidden Figures, and Michelle Williams in Manchester by the Sea.
Okay, first off, there's no way that Viola Davis should be in the supporting actress category because that role is a lead role, and the studio totally went category shopping here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I've heard some people saying they won't even vote for her because they're upset that she wasn't nominated for Best Actress, but I don't see anyone else even having a shot. I think it's absolutely the best performance.
People say they won't vote for her because she's in the wrong category?
Yeah, some of the honest Oscar ballots.
Oh, please.
They've said in protests they won't even.
It's not her fault. It's the studio's fault. Don't screw her over because the studio made a dumb decision.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't see anyone else having a shot.
No. And I've seen all those movies, and nobody comes close.
Yeah, I mean I enjoyed Michelle Williams in the brief scenes that she was in, which it truly is a supporting role.
Oh yeah, 2 scenes, yeah.
Yeah. And Harris was fantastic in Moonlight.
Definitely.
But yeah, nothing. That was a tour de force right there.
Yep, she's a force of nature.
Yeah.
How about Best Supporting Actor? Who's up for that?
Best Supporting Actor, we've got Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals, Dev Patel in Lion, Lucas Hedges in Manchester by the Sea, Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water, and Mahershala Ali in Moonlight.
Mahershala Ali. I only know that I rehearsed that because he shortened his name. It used to be longer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he was on the 4400, it was longer. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, seriously? Boy, what do you think?
Again, I think that one is there's no competition. Mahershala Ali, I think, absolutely
great role.
It.
Great role.
A true supporting role as well. It's not a leading role disguised as a supporting
role. And what's kind of interesting is he's also a supporting role in Hidden Figures, which is one of the 9 Best Picture nominees. We'll get to those later.
Yeah.
What else is next?
What's next is Best Actress, which this one is interesting, actually. We've got Meryl Streep for Florence Foster Jenkins, which I think most people would agree is...
Oh, let's do that again. I had the microphone in the wrong way.
I don't have a problem.
Meryl Streep is... Okay, so who are the nominees for Best Actress, Ryan?
First we got Meryl Streep and Florence Foster Jenkins. There's Emma Stone for La La Land, and Natalie Portman and Jackie, Ruth Negga and Loving, and Isabel Huppert and Ellie, who just won the Caesar Award, actually, for Best Actress.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room, or the elephant not in the room?
Yes, absolutely.
Amy Adams' Arrival. What's up with that?
I think, I'm not going to be the one to say the underrated word for Meryl Streep.
Yeah, you mean overrated.
I'm sorry, overrated. Yeah, we've heard that opinion already. I don't think she's an overrated actress, though I will say that this performance did not deserve a nomination. Whereas Amy Adams, I think, has never been better than she was in Arrival.
And it's such a great film. It's nominated in several other categories, but to overlook, she was the heart and soul of that movie.
Absolutely.
What's up with that?
But I will say I'm extremely pleased to see Ruth Negga get a nomination because it was an underrated or understated performance that normally wouldn't get the attention. So I'm glad that snuck in there. She didn't have a chance at winning.
No. And the movie, that's the only major nomination from the movie.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising.
Which disappointed me a little bit. I think Jeff Nichols is one of those directors.
He's terrific. I have not been let down by any of his movies yet.
No, he had 2 fantastic films this year. That one as well as Midnight Special, which was the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And that one also blew me away.
You got to wonder about people who can crank out 2 great films in 1 year. Wow.
I haven't seen a bad film from him yet, so I think it's inevitable that he's going to be continuing to show up during the award season.
Cool.
But I think that the edge goes to Emma Stone.
I
to
do
be
too.
honest. It's a favorite this year.
She's been nominated before. She won the SAG Award. She won the Golden Globe. And I love the movie. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I just don't see anybody else taking it from her.
Some people might say, I've heard complaints that the singing and the dancing's not up to par.
That's not the point.
But yeah, I think the acting is good enough to overlook. Plus, we can talk about that.
We'll talk about it later. We can get to it. How about Best Actor?
Best Actor, we've got Denzel Washington for Fences, which he also directed, and Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic, The Long Shot, which I think a lot of people are actually heralding as one of the better performances of the year, Ryan Gosling for La La Land, Andrew Garfield for Hacksaw Ridge, wrong film, as we've talked about.
Seriously, he should have been nominated for Silence.
Yeah, and then there's Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea, which I think is probably the favorite at this point.
Yeah, Casey Affleck is the odds-on favorite for Manchester. Boy, I have feelings about this movie, which we'll talk about when we talk about the Best Picture nominees. Even though he's got some kind of weird personal drama going on that could theoretically undermine it, he did... Denzel won the SAG Award, didn't he?
Yeah, Denzel won the SAG, so that's I think was the turning point where people were saying maybe this race is a little closer than we thought.
Yeah, because Casey won the BAFTA, the British Academy of Film and Television Award, and he also won the Golden Globe. But if there's going to be a spoiler, it could be Denzel.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't want to talk too much about the movie as a whole. It is a solid performance. I don't know if it's one of my favorite Denzel performances overall.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would not put it at the top of my list for his performances. At the same time, though I was not crazy about the film, I think that Casey Affleck, this is one of the stronger performances he's given. So
yeah, it's interesting. I think in many respects that Casey is a better actor than Ben. Mm-hmm. Especially after seeing Gone Girl. It's Gone... Oh, no, Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah.
I get all these Gone movies. You go, girl. I get them confused. Gone Baby Gone impressed the heck out of me from him.
Yeah. To be honest, though, if I had to choose one, I wouldn't mind seeing Mortensen win this time.
I didn't see Captain Fantastic. How was it?
The film itself, I thought, was somewhat uneven, but his performance was phenomenal.
Interesting.
Think that I wouldn't mind seeing that be the one recognition that film gets as Best Actor.
Gotcha.
It would be a huge upset, though. That's for sure.
Well, the Oscars love their upsets. How about Best Director nominees?
Best Director, let's see, we've got Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, Damien Chazelle for La La Land, Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge, and Denis Villeneuve for Arrival, which...
I think it's Denis Villeneuve.
Sorry, I'm not French enough to pronounce his name correctly.
I took several years of French in college and high school. I think that this is Chazelle's to lose.
Yeah.
The technical achievement of the movie, especially the opening sequence, which they shut down I think it's the 110-105 interchange to shoot that, and just amazing. I like this movie quite a bit, but the direction was spot on. Whiplash, I thought had a lot of potential. He showed a lot of potential in Whiplash, but some of the choices he made, especially for the never-ending drum solo sequence at the end of the movie, it's like, really? Really? Come on. But,
yeah, I think even there is the pushback from those that are...
Anti-La La Land?
Yeah, because it's anytime you have a film that's hyped up and people are enjoying it a lot, there's going to be those people that push back against it. But even those people, even the people that are saying not the best movie of the year, will give up to the technical achievements of
the directing.
Yes, and that opening sequence, like you said, it's phenomenal. It takes your breath away. And I don't, as much as I do think Barry Jenkins was a fantastic director, did a great job, he doesn't have the clout that Chazelle has,
Right.
having already been to the Academy Awards and having a film that had that credibility. Barry Jenkins, his last film, Medicine for Melancholy, was great, but very much a small indie that not a lot of people saw. So I think a lot of people will say, well, we'll see you in the future.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
this
yeah.
time. And yeah, Mel Gibson shouldn't even be.
Don't get me started. It's like, okay, this Mel, dude, your fascination with violence, I thought undercut the theme of the movie, which is about a pacifist goes to war and sees the horrors of the war. You did not need to rub his nose in the dirt and grime and blood. I think my biggest problem with the choices he made as a director is it's Desmond's. The movie should be told from Desmond's point of view. And when you're not showing what he can directly see, such as the Japanese soldiers committing seppuku, that's a cheat. It's like, dude, you got a fascination with violence. You need to go see a therapist or something.
Yeah, just like I think Andrew Garfield was nominated for the wrong film. I think the film he should have been nominated for should
Silence.
also be the one that I
Absolutely.
think Scorsese should have got a director nomination.
Seriously, I don't know who dropped the ball here. Was that a Paramount
I
release?
think so, but I don't want to place the blame on them
Okay.
without that knowledge. but
They have a track record for dropping the ball on getting their films nominated.
yeah, it's unfortunate. So, Best Picture?
Oh, let's talk about Best Animated Feature.
Oh, Best Animated.
Real quickly.
Yeah, no, that's
I
actually...
hope Kubo and the Two Strings wins.
Yeah, that's my hope as well, not just because I think it deserves it. I enjoyed Zootopia, don't get me wrong,
I did too.
but I think that Kubo is just in another level.
Well, the technical achievement alone, the fact that when I talked it up after seeing it, a lot of my friends thought it was CGI. It's like, no, it's stop motion. There's actually the sequence at the end where they show you how they did some of the puppets. But man, what a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah, and it's time. I'm sorry, but it's time Disney didn't take home an animation statue. I think that they've had plenty of those.
Poor DreamWorks.
Yeah. And
Even Warner's got one for Happy Feet, which was the big upset. Remember that?
oh yeah, that's right.
People are like, Happy Feet? What? So, the Best Picture nominees, and there's 9 of them.
Oh man.
Let's just go
Yeah.
through the list.
All right. So first off, let's start with the ones that don't really have a shot. Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, I just kind of said my feelings about Hacksaw Ridge. I didn't think it was I thought the movie was problematic. It was too long, and I really just... I'm not saying that I needed PG-13 level of violence, but I didn't... You're not Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Stop pretending to try to be Saving Private Ryan, because that's not... It's a different movie than Saving Private Ryan, and I want to say it feels more violent than Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Saving Private Ryan is a better movie.
And less respectful. I'm sorry, but the scene with the cadaver used as a shield.
That made me angry.
Yes.
That made me angry. That's a war crime.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it felt too episodic for me. I think there were story structure issues.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And the boot camp sequence, I can understand why you needed it, but man, do we really need to see another movie with a long boot camp sequence?
Yeah, I agree. Another long shot, I would say, is Lion.
You know, I liked Lion. I didn't love Lion. And again, I thought the story was undermotivated. You know, by the time the kid grows up to become Dev Patel, it just seems really strange and out of the blue that he kind of distances himself from his girlfriend, played by Rooney Mara, and his parents, played by David Wenham and Nicole Kidman, to look for his biological family. And like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I liked it, didn't love it, but I just thought that it needed to be a tighter story. And it needed to be motivated properly, because it just felt that the character was making decisions because the script said so.
Yeah, fair assessment. Let's move on to some long shots that we actually enjoy.
Okay.
For one, we talked about Arrival.
Wow. It's funny because the critics loved this movie and audiences were like, it's it's kind of cool. I think they were mad because stuff didn't blow up.
Yeah, how dare you have an alien invasion film that doesn't end with apocalyptic destruction or a full-out war.
But it's been a while since we've had a thinking person's alien invasion film. I mean, maybe not alien invasion, but alien encounter film, possibly as far back as Close Encounters in the 70s.
Unless you consider Midnight Special to be along those lines.
True. Although Midnight Special is kind of its own little thing.
It is, yeah. But I like both those movies for the same sort of reasons. The intimacy, the performance-driven, character-driven elements of the story.
And
make them stronger.
We won't ruin the plot twist here, but it was cool, it made sense, and it grounded the movie emotionally.
I gotta admit, I saw it coming, and it did not take away the emotional impact for me.
I suspected, but I still love the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Another long shot, but a favorite over the summer was Hell or High Water. A lot of people like that movie.
It's a solid movie. For me, it kind of felt like No Country for Young Men.
Yes.
But Jeff Bridges is the man. I mean, he's the dude. Literally, he is the dude. I think he's become the dude as he's gotten older and wiser. But and it was great to see Chris Pine play, a real character instead of an icon. I have issues with the J.J. verse reboot of Star Trek, and Pine is great. He's fine as Captain Kirk, but to see him play a really fleshed out character was interesting. And Ben Foster is scary good.
Yeah, no, he is. I think he's a character actor that has a long career ahead of him.
Which is interesting because you would have thought that he would have gone the leading man route, as a, blonde kid, good looking blonde dude,
Mm-hmm.
but he's totally done the character actor thing. And but no, it's solid. I like it quite a bit. It felt like it was trying to be kind of imitation Coen Brothers.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit.
Kind of like the, instead of butter, you get margarine, and they're like, what? But no, it's solid. I mean, I own it, so.
Next one is Fences, which I think a lot of people have complained it's too theatrical, too theater-based, which is true. He was very honest about wanting to be faithful to the adaptation.
Absolutely. Ryan and I got to attend a Writers Guild screening of this back in December, where Denzel did a Q&A moderated by Leonard Maltin. But, I mean, the strength and the weakness of Fences is it is totally faithful to August Wilson's text, which is a plus and a minus. I mean, it's very stagey, and Denzel, as director, opened it up as much as he could by taking them out of the house. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot of action. It's all talk. I mean, it's great dialogue. It's great acting. But, I don't think it's best picture caliber.
No, I don't either. Like I said, there's some acting categories that it's got a guarantee and a good shot, but best picture, I don't think it has a shot at all.
One of the funniest advertising campaigns I've heard for the movie is, probably the best self-directed film ever. It's like, okay, you're scraping the bottom of. I mean, it's a solid piece of work, but when you're making it sound that no other actor-director has achieved such a great performance from himself or herself.
And it's while that is an accurate statement, it's a little bit unfair because he's played this role so many times.
Well, he and Viola won Tonys for playing these roles on Broadway, so yeah, it's he's had a lot of practice.
So we've got 4 more remaining. 2 are very heavy and 2 are very feel good. So let's start with one of the feel goods, which is Hidden Figures.
I love this movie. It was a history lesson that was like the spoonful of sugar helping the medicine go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great performances all around. Solid script. Didn't get too bogged down in anything. It's been a big box office hit too, which is great. And I don't think it has a shot of winning.
No.
But very enjoyable.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed Hidden Figures. I don't see it having a chance. I think it's maybe a little bit too glossed over, the history. So it's.
You think that they made the racism a little bit too pretty and safe?
I don't see. I mean, this is not to take away from the film at all, but I have a hard time believing the realism of the way she stood up to them. About the bathroom breaks.
Felt too Hollywoody.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was a little like, oh, did that really happen? Like, it had me skeptical. Maybe that's a cynic in me, but
hey, at least they didn't get protested like some movies in the past of like, this isn't true.
Yeah, that's a good point. Along the same lines, if we're going to stick with themes dealing with race issues in a different way, and more than just race issues, is Moonlight.
I liked Moonlight. And again, but I didn't love it. There was some kind of distance. And I can't, it's hard to articulate. I couldn't quite fully engage, especially in Act 3 when he's grown up. There is something, I don't know if it was the direction, it was just a little kind of, something left me a little bit cold. And somebody, maybe it was you, said, Moonlight is kind of like Boyhood with a black, with black characters and a written plot.
Yeah, I don't know if I said that, but it sounds like something I would say. It's definitely, I would say, one of the more intellectual films on the list. It's a thinking film. I think that the more you think about it, the more you might be able to appreciate it, but I also don't see it being the one that people are going to gravitate towards this year. Also, I think just that with all that's going on in our society, we might want something a little more feel-good.
Yes, definitely.
Which was a reason why I also don't think Manchester by the Sea has a shot. I think it's a little too much grief porn for me.
Well, my issue with Manchester by the Sea is I thought that the story was both overwritten and underwritten, because Casey Affleck has long stretches where he just mopes. And grief is not an inherently cinematic subject, because people who are grieving generally are not active, they're passive, and therefore kind of dull. I mean, when he's not picking barroom fights, which I'm like, hey, let's perpetuate the stereotype of Bostonians. All they can do is pick fights when they get mad or upset or, when anything goes wrong. What do you think of Ginger Matt Damon? Young Ginger Matt Damon.
We didn't go into that with the best supporting, but I do not think that there's any way that he should be on that. I didn't enjoy it. I thought, in the sense that it was overwritten, he seemed to be reciting the overwritten lines in a way that said, hey, look how well I memorized your dialogue. Not look at the way that the words are actually coming out of me in a thoughtful way.
Every time he spoke, I was just thinking, you look like a young ginger Matt Damon. It's like, and Matt Damon's a producer in this movie. It's like, hey, I cast a young ginger version of me to play the kid.
Wasn't he at one point going to star in it as well? And then he removed himself?
Past, yeah. I think in the past he was, but probably because he's 40-something instead of 30-something.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I do think that it's well written, but in some ways overly written.
Yep.
And it feels false to me at times. Not that the performances felt false, but some of the dialogue felt very I don't know how to put it. I guess contrived. It just didn't. Well, I didn't buy it, and I did not like how much of the film was preoccupied on the nephew's sex life following his father's death. That he's interested in sleeping with two different girls.
Seriously, that's the only way you can grieve is by boinking these women.
Yeah,
multiple.
That bugged me, and
it made me not like him because he was just basically what's the word I'm looking for? Man whore?
Yeah. He whined a lot. I don't want to move to Boston. I just want to sleep with my two girlfriends.
Yeah, my two girlfriends who don't know about each other. And their parents don't know we're sleeping. It's like, oh my gosh, you're a piece of work, kid.
And his uncle plays wingman for him for what? Oh, yeah.
Creepy.
I will say the one scene that sold me was the one scene between
Michelle Williams and him.
Yeah, because even though they talked over each other, they stepped on each other's lines. You saw all of these micro expressions and this you got the feeling that they were saying things that they'd been thinking about for
yeah.
years. So it was believable. It wasn't just them coming up with witty comebacks off the top of their head without ever even hearing what was said to them in order to respond properly, which is how I felt with the nephew and the uncle's character. But
getting the Wayback Machine to the 90s when Dawson's Creek first aired on the then WB, would you ever have pegged her to be a multiple Oscar nominee?
I wouldn't, no.
But she's given us really solid performances in many films. It's like, you go, Michelle.
Yeah, I absolutely look forward to seeing what she does with her career, and I was overjoyed to see her in the few scenes that she was in that film.
Yeah, she brought an energy and vitality that was missing through a lot of the movie. Again, because he's moping around so much of the film. I was a little disappointed because I'd heard so much about this movie. It was like, it's Manchester by the Sea or Moonlight or La La Land. And when I saw Manchester by the Sea finally, I'm like, that's what people are like, thrilled with. I'm like, no.
And I think a lot of people, I had the same reaction. I did come to it a little bit late and was disappointed. I think a lot of people are having that reaction from La La Land now, which, let's face it, if that doesn't win Best Picture, I feel like I should probably quit my job and no longer. But I think a lot of people came to that after hearing all the hype and were slightly disappointed. I, on the other hand, have watched it 3 times now and grow to love it more each time. I feel like it's a film that gets better with each viewing.
I heard you got to go to the world premiere.
I did go to the world premiere. I also, the first time I saw it, actually, the first screening I went to was hosted by Bradley Cooper, and he brought Emma Stone out. So,
wow.
I guess I got there very early, I will say.
What was that sound? Thunk. Oh, name dropper.
Yep, exactly.
No, I've seen it twice so far, but I love this movie. You had me at the flash mob on the 110-105 interchange during the traffic jam and didn't let up. My worship team leader actually sings background vocals on that opening number. But no, the thing I love about the movie is, yes, it's about, inner workings of people trying to make it in Hollywood. But I thought the maturity of the theme that you can't have it all. And so many times people think they can have it all. And part of growing up and becoming an adult is realizing you have to make choices. And, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, well, shame on you, you should have. But at the end of the movie, they make a specific choice about their relationship. And they realize that, for her to pursue her big break fully, she needs to dive into that head first and put their relationship on hold. And evidently it completely dies. And at the end of the movie, when they flash forward, she's with somebody else, married, kid, but she's achieved her dream. And he too has achieved his dream. But I thought the fact that they made each other better people and better artists, I thought was really cool. And mature. And a lot of people won't tell you that. A lot of people are like, oh, I hope you guys, Mazel Tov, I hope you have a long and successful relationship. When sometimes we know this relationship is doomed because they're on parallel paths, not on intersecting paths. But I really appreciate that. And the music's great too.
What I love about it is it blends the fantasy spectacle of classic old school musicals
Bingo.
with the realism of these issues. So if you notice in that film, anytime there's a big musical number, it's followed immediately by grounding it with realism. So that opening traffic sequence, they're all diverse people in LA are joining together in song, but as soon as the song's over, they're back in their cars honking at each other.
Flipping each other off.
Yeah, our meet cute is them flipping each other off, getting angry at each other. And that final fantasy sequence that we have at the end is followed by that very poignant ending that is realistic about sacrifices like we talked about.
Absolutely. And not only that, but that the epilogue sequence is an homage to the dream ballets from, things American in Paris or Singing in the Rain. Chazelle knows his Hollywood history. The dude knows how to move the camera, he knows how to move his actors, he knows how to get great performances out of them. I just thoroughly enjoy this movie.
And I do appreciate that the jump forward. Although the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, you're jumping forward 5 years. What are you doing?" I appreciate that because it leaves that area for you to decide
Fill in
what
the
you
blanks.
think. Yeah, it doesn't tell you exactly what happened, and we don't know. Maybe he did go to Paris. Maybe they tried to work it out.
We
don't know.
We don't know what happened. All we know is it did not work out somehow. And she's married to another dude, got a great kid, got a great life. She's a star. He's got a great jazz club, the one he's dreamed of, and yet the suggestions she gave him earlier, he took. And so again, they made each other better people. And I think that that's one of the things that film goers as well as non-film goers need to learn, is that sometimes people are brought into your life for just a season to have a specific impact, and then you might never see them again, or you might never have that intense connection with them again. But I thought that was a really cool message, and I don't think I've seen it in a lot of films recently.
No, it was bittersweet, but it's one of those ones where I feel like a lot of people, if you're old enough to have lived a bit, you can relate. You
Absolutely.
might not be in the entertainment industry, but I think we all look back on our life, on our memories, and say, what if I'd gone this path? What if I've done this? If you've lived long enough, you're going to have those moments. And that's what that is at the end. And we see in just the smallest expression
Absolutely.
that they don't regret their choice, even
Nope.
though there is some sadness there, because life brings us that sometimes.
Yeah, but that's life,
That's-
and that's real.
Yeah, that beautiful and sad at the same time. I has it all. That
Yep.
for me is guaranteed winner. If not, like I said, maybe I should find a new career.
Well, plus, never discount the ability of Hollywood loving to pat itself on the back collectively. I mean, The Artist, and I'm sorry, I
Argo.
like The Artist, but The Artist is, I don't think, a great film. Argo's a fun film. Argo, frack yourself. But, yeah, it's, usually when there's movies about Hollywood, they tend to do well at awards season, because, woo, what we do is so hard out here.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is a good point. I think that if it didn't already have the edge, that should push it right over. So,
Cool. Well, sounds like we have a lot to look forward to on Sunday night. Thanks for joining us. And once again, I'm Tom.
and I'm Ryan.
And talk to you later on Flix 66.